I always like to tell people that a relapse is not the end of the world. It happens to all of us. It is part of the greater process. Don't worry about it. Don't obsess about it. Just pick yourself back up. Focus on the positive things. Focus on how you're making progress in the grand scheme of things. And just keep going. But obviously, I also understand that if you have just relapsed, that you are going to feel horrible about it. And so a lot of you guys are probably going to think, yeah, well, Rob, that's a cool story. I sort of understand what you're saying, but I'm feeling like absolute shit right now, and that isn't exactly making it easier for me to keep going. So what can I do? Are there some actual practical things that I can do to get me outside of this horrible mindset? And so in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys 5 things that make it easier, 5 techniques to pick yourself back up out of this horrible mindset so that you can keep working towards your goals and you can keep making progress. Now, number 1 is a bit of an interesting one, because this is not really like a technique or a tip, but this is more like something that you sort of have to do, because if you don't do this, then it's just not going to work. This is important, which is you have to forgive yourself. I notice a very strong pattern where it is always the people that struggle to forgive themselves, so the people that keep stuck into that guilty mindset. These people are so much more likely to relapse again soon. These people are so much more likely to get stuck into this relapse binge, where they don't just watch it once, but they get into this streak of like several days or a week where they watch it hours and hours a day. You know, they just keep doing it. You fall straight back into your old habits. And it is the people that have an easier time to forgive themselves, who are just more careless about it. They're like, yeah, you know, it sucks that it happened, but so be it, let's move on. These people also have an easier time moving on and focusing on the positive things. And so you are going to have to learn to forgive yourself. And I suggest you just take some small moments throughout your day where you, like maybe 3 times a day, where you just sit back, you do nothing for a minute, doesn't have to be long, close your eyes and just tell yourself, either internally or out loud, if that's the thing you like to do, but tell yourself that it's not a big deal. Just quickly go over the positive things. Tell yourself, hey man, I've been making progress. I used to struggle to go without porn for 1 day. Now I've gone for 2 weeks and then I relapsed. That's pretty cool. That's a good thing. So now I'm going to continue. A relapse happens to everyone. I know that the more I obsess about a relapse, the more I'm going to be stuck into this relapsing pattern. So I'm going to have to forgive myself. I'm doing great. Things are going to be fine in the long term. I'm just going to keep going. Just tell yourself something along those lines. Just focus on the positivity and confirm to yourself that a relapse is not a big deal. Do it a couple of times a day. Take a minute for it. Again, it doesn't have to take long, but it is going to make a difference. We can sort of manually take some control of our mind, but just telling ourselves what it's like. Number 2 is a very interesting one, which is to take a cold shower. Now, the reason I say that this is interesting is because I've actually seen something like this being mentioned in ancient religious texts. A lot of people probably know that in Christianity there is the concept of washing away your sins, right? And I've also stumbled upon some Islamic texts saying that if you have masturbated, that you should sort of wash yourself. Right, that you should wash your hands to clean the sin off yourself. Now, I am personally not a religious person at all. I don't believe that if I take a cold shower that God washes away my sins or anything. But I do find it funny to see that usually when something is written like this in a religious text, that it does mean that our ancestors knew something, right? They knew something was up. It was based on some kind of an ancient wisdom where maybe they didn't know exactly why it worked, but it worked for them. And I noticed the same thing working for me. If I feel bad after a relapse and I take a cold shower, there's just something about that cold shower that snaps me back into that mindset where I'm sort of ready to go. Now believe whatever you want to believe. If you want to believe that it's actually God cleaning your sins, that's fine. Or if you want to believe that it's just the discomfort of the cold shower snapping you into a mindset where instead of being weak and being, oh, I feel guilty, you suddenly are like, yes, oof, now I'm ready to go again. Let's work hard, stuff like that. Whatever you choose to believe, I don't care. But that's what it does to me, and I think that's what it does to a lot of other people as well. A cold shower just snaps your mindset around, and that's exactly what you want. Number 3, physical activity. Whatever it is you're going to do, whether it is going to the gym, going for a run, or just doing some push-ups on the floor, I don't care. Any type of physical activity is doing such a great job at snapping you outside of your head. Right? The problem you have is that you're stuck in your head. And there's something about just moving your body, being active, that is doing a great job at removing you outside of your head and getting you out of that bad mindset. Number 4, work towards your purpose. Now, I'm not going to go too much into depth about what your purpose is. I think there are plenty of videos on that on YouTube, and I am going to talk about that some more in future videos, but that would take too much time. A purpose can be anything. It is something that gives you fulfillment out of life. It is something that is a passion to you, something that you think is very useful to you, whatever that might be. It's like the thing that you're working towards in life. Now, I think the mistake that a lot of people make in a situation like this, when we've just relapsed, is that we are sort of waiting till we feel better, till we start to get motivation to start working hard again. And the truth is, it works both ways. We also get motivation and we also get escape from a bad mindset when we just start doing the work. So don't just start waiting around and looking for the next technique to start feeling better before you start working. But sometimes the best answer is to just start working. So whatever your purpose might be, maybe it is working on your own business, maybe it is doing volunteers work, whatever it is you think your purpose is, just start doing it. Number 5, and this one is, I think, it is somewhat underestimated, especially today in our modern individualistic way of living, which is to spend time with friends and family. You could also spend time with strangers, I guess, but preferably friends or family. And I think the best way to explain it is this. What we really want to do when we are stuck in a bad mindset is to sort of keep going along with life again, right? Life moves on and we need to also move on. Now the problem is that we struggle to move on because we feel so bad and we are stuck in that bad place by ourselves. And we can actually overcome this, or at least make it a lot easier, if we sort of tag along with other people, because other people are going to move on with life anyway. Your friends are going to move on with life. Your friends might meet to play a game of football. Your friends might meet to drink a beer. Maybe you have a family dinner. And so just doing anything with friends or family sort of removes you from that bad mindset, and it puts you into that situation where life just goes on. So if you are feeling in one of these places where it feels as if you are struggling to move on with your own life, then you can seek shelter in other people and try to sort of move along with them. And then when you start to get some momentum, it also becomes easier for you to move along by yourself.